Sumaya Henny, Sumaya. It's like your shadow.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Mashano, and I'm back again. Hey, I know you can see the new addition to the family. Yes, I want to give you the best of sound quality. I want to give you the best of visual quality. So, as time goes on, I'll be adding stuff here and there to make this channel the best. I know by the caption of this video, by the title of this video, you are already judging me. Please, I am on your side. Without further ado, let's jump right in. And I hope you get your notebooks as well. Get yourself a notebook, get a diary, get your pen, and because there's a lot to unpack here. Please, there's a lot we are going to delve into. Do me the honors, get your notebooks, get your pens, let's get it going.
And so one of the things is there's a lot of conversations about, the behaviors of very successful men. And, and I always say there's levels to the game. There's the guys that, there's the 100,000s, there's the millions, there's the 10 million, Pat's at the top of the level. Pat is a guy who is an extremely successful man. A lot of people will show things on social media, but Patrick, hands down, successful man that you can.
Okay, for your information, the white guy who's being interviewed is called Patrick. So I want you to follow the dialogue, okay? Thank you.
Not deny. So one of the questions that people always ask is, what is the incentive of a very successful, especially financially successful man to settle down and get married? So I'm very curious about, from your personal perspective, as a man who was being successful, who had an onward trajectory.
We are all curious at this point.
Who was doing so well, what made you decide to get married?
The risk is very high, by the way, to get married. For me, when I was 28, I had made a decision I'm never going to get married.
Oh, wow.
I'm staying single.
This is a millionaire, right? And we are curious to know why you decided to get married. And the first thing he says was, I'm jotting this, I'm putting this, I'm noting it. The first thing he says was, the risk is very high, by the way. Come on now. Why? Is it a deliberate attempt to scare us off? What's going on here? What's going on? But let's continue.
Single. And my assistant, very good friend of mine at that time, Sandra, Patty, said, why don't you go read this book, 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged, by Norman Wright. So I read the book. When I read the book, I'm like,
101 questions before you get engaged. Put that down. Put it down.
huh, interesting. I was talking to 4 girls at the time. I said, why don't you guys read this book as well and see how you feel about it? So they did. I'm like, I could never be with you. You and I would never work out. Would never work out. But I asked the one question, why get married? There's way too much risk to it. So then I sat there and said, well, you have somebody to come home to every night. You can still have somebody to come home to if you're single. Yeah. You can have options. Yeah. If you know what I mean. When you have the money, you can do whatever you want to do with that. Yeah, but tax benefits, I don't care about that. I can move to another state and get better tax benefits.
I know for those of us here in Ghana, we can't relate to tax benefits. We only hear of it in the news. I mean, foreign news, and see it in the movies. Right? We can't relate to tax benefits. What is that? But anyways,
it's somebody that you're, it's somebody that can help you. It's somebody that can do this. Not there yet. And then it goes to, okay, look, you can make all the money in the world. Then what? Like, what leaves you? A book? Yeah, they say the Jewish proverb says there's 3 things every man should do, right?
3 things every man should do. Take your pens, because at this point, I'm not pausing it. I'm just putting it down one by one. So put it down right now. I'm talking to you. Let's continue.
Write a book, plant a tree, have a son. Why? Because they all outlive you. We as men want to live thousands of years. The only way you're going to live thousands of years is by the value you bring to the world that's documented, is by giving back to, and I know the tree is what they're saying with tree, not even tree today, because a tree is being cut down and turned into paper. It's a business model now, right? But it's family, it's blood. And when you see your kid and you find somebody to build a family with that's a good partner, meshes with you, good personality, you sit there and say, okay, great, this looks good. We can actually pull this off. Then there's value for it. But I'm going to tell you something here right now. Basic rules about getting married today. Wouldn't get, if I'm a man, I'm not getting married before 30 at all. I would not even think about getting married pre-30. A lot of people argue with me. You don't know what you're talking about. I got married at 22 years old and I'm happily married. I'm 62. 22, 62, that was 40 years ago. That means the 80s.
Yeah.
You didn't have social media. You didn't have Snapchat. You didn't have Tinder. You don't have accessibility to what's out there.
I think that's a strong, valid point. Like, yeah. In the 80s and the 70s, people were getting married as young as 19. As young as 19, 20, 21, people were getting married. But that's not our case today. That's not our case in the age of social media, where it is very easy for people to find someone they can mess around with. In this day and age, all right. So okay. So I'm beginning to get where the risk is coming from. You know, from the intro, he said it's very, like, from the first answer he gave, he said it's very risky. You know, he said it's very risky, by the way. And now I understand. It looks like I'm getting where he's driving at, you know.
Today, accessibility to sex today is so easy. The ability to be tempted today and screw up is so easy. The ability to screw up and make a royally, publicly humiliating mistake today is very high.
Wait a minute. We need to take that back. He was dropping some insight. He was dropping some revealing stuff. The ability to make what? Please, let's take it back.
Tempted today and screw up is so easy. The ability to screw up and make a royally, publicly humiliating mistake today is very high.
The ability to make a royally, publicly humiliating mistake today, it's high.
So easy. The ability to screw up and make a royally, publicly humiliating mistake today is very high. And ain't no man walk on water. Okay? And no man walks on water. Everybody sees and says, oh my gosh, oh, she's beautiful, but I'm married. There's nobody that's perfect to say, oh, I don't have to worry about the mistakes I'm going to make. The risk is high today. The reward is not as high as it used to be, because at least back in the days, say you and your wife got into a fight 20 years ago. You got a 30-minute drive, okay? And at the office, you talk to her. Why don't I come home and talk to you tonight? You got 30 minutes to calm down by the time you come home. Today, if you get into a fight, instantly, that second, what you want to say, you say. So you fan.
I mean, everything he's saying here is facts. Everything he's saying here is facts. Someone offends you, you don't even take a second to breathe. Instantly. Your partner says something you don't agree with. Instantly. You don't even take a second to think about it. To think, maybe he's right here. Maybe he's wrong there. No, not to delete. No. Instantly. He has a point. What he's saying is true. You never thought about it like this, right? Let's go.
Fan, scar. It's just like, dude, I'm so done with this marriage. So today we have too much of the opportunity to react instantly. There's too much instant reaction. And hey, you don't know what you're talking about. That fight is too instant. So those are all scars that you leave on each other, right? And eventually, after all the scars you get, it's like, I just have no desire to do anything with you in bed anymore. I'm going, I'm good. You're facing this way. She's facing that way. So it has to be built on the right values and principles. it has to be somebody that you date for some time and you see all the dark side of them and yourself to see if you can do this or not. Preferably a referral that's coming through somebody instead of cold. I knew my wife 5.5 years before we got married. She knew my flaws, I knew her flaws. Oh yeah, she dated other guys, I dated other girls, and eventually we said, let's see what could happen here, and we build a family together. You have to create certain criterias before you, and when you get married, watch the fights, watch the arguments, watch how people argue. I remember one time my wife, we were dating, and she is about to lose financially. She wasn't the best of place at that time. Certain, challenges took place. She was in the mortgage real estate business. And one month, she calls, we've been together for 3 months. She says, this month, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. I'm like, ooh, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
She said, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. I'm like, really? Yeah. What are you thinking you're going to do? I don't know. What do you think I should do? I said, well, number one, I would go return your BMW that you have. That's $850 my car payment, white convertible. I'd go return that and say, can't pay the payment anymore. What else would you do? Number two, I'd go back and I would get a Nissan Sentra, $200 a month. That saves you $600 a month. Okay, what else would you do? I'd go back, and I know you're doing insurance and real estate right now. I'd go back and get your old job where you worked to give you a good shift where they can pay you $40,000. That at least covers your, expenses. What else would you do? Boom, boom, boom. I said what I said. And she says, okay. I said, what do you mean? Let's go return the car. I said, you sure? That day, we drove to BMW. She returned her car. Then we drove up to Sentra. She got the Sentra. Then she went back to her job, and she got a job. And I said, never once did she say, can you lend me $1,250? Not one time.
See? And this guy is a millionaire. But she had to let the woman be accountable for her responsibilities. And women demand this sometimes from guys. They just want you to guide them, right? Sometimes it will look like, oh, they are trying to ask you for money, but what do you have here to direct them to get things right? If just because you have money lying down and you feel like, she can't pay her rent, so you are going to the bank to cash money out and come and give to her, that's going to be a big problem for you. Find a way out. Let her find a way out by herself. But trust me, a lot of women, the ones that he mentioned earlier, that good women, the good women that will make good homes for you, those ones, when they come and you teach them these things, they are not going to argue with you. They are going to appreciate you and even love you more. Right? I think I'm talking, at this point, I've spoken too much. Let's continue.
So to me, that was like, okay, because my biggest concern was, I have money, so you're kind of trying to, never did that. And I said, she has no clue. She just passed an incredible test for us, right?
Yeah.
So,
you see, she just passed an incredible test. In our age, nobody's testing anybody. Everybody is in a hurry to get sex. Yes, that's the truth of the matter. So, because you want sex, you want to do whatever she's demanding so that she'll give it to you. And the lady too, she's going to demand things and give herself out. That is where we find ourselves today.
That is a conversation that we're always having. And I think, to me, similar to you, I think the advantage of a man's ability to raise his son is so important in today, especially as the world gets more and more crazier. I just think, that's one of the incentives for me, is that, like, similar to how my father was able to be in my life. And I know you shared a story last time on the podcast, how having that 1 week with your dad, 1 day a week with your dad, really shaped your life. And I always said that I grew up very rich, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're spoiled, how much cars. You're like, no. My parents were immigrants. We had no money. But my dad gave me so much love and time, and that was the richness that I grew up with. So for me, the beauty and value is in that for marriage. And so you made a point about criteria. for selecting a wife. So if your son was 32 years old, you know, he established himself financially, you see he's doing well, and he's trying to settle down, what would be 3 criteria that you give him for a wife that comes off the top of your mind?
Yeah, so first of all, you have to be physically attracted. So that's not even one of the 3, but you do have to be physically attracted. So the whole idea about...
Guys, if you want to make the girl them like you, if you want the girl them to like you, you can't compromise on your appearance. You need to appear clean. You need to appear as a responsible man that she's looking for. And that's not even part of the top 3. So let's see what the top 3 has.
But, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, no, it matters. Okay, it matters. And by the way, my wife and I, till today, we talk and we say, hey, you know, we have to stay in shape for each other. We have to be attracted to each other. You know, we have to want to have sex with each other, because that is a very important part of marriage. So it's not like 280 pounds. But you said through thick and thin. Yeah, it's a little too much thick right now, and I'd like some thin, right? You know, but you know, so that is a part. And sometimes men let themselves go, and you see, you know, they got a big pouch. Well, you know, but you're my wife. That's not how things work. You know, you have to. So, but let's set that part aside. Let's set that part aside. For me, number 1 would be values and principles, and I'll explain to you from my parents' standpoint. My parents, both my parents are Christians, right? But why did they get a divorce? Here's why. My mom was a communist. My dad was an imperialist. My mother believed rich people were bad people. My dad thought poor people were lazy. Look how big of a conflict that is. So my dad's trying to become rich, but that's who my mom hates. How can your...
That one there is powerful. It's powerful. Obviously, I'm not a married guy, but this is one of the decisions that I've made. It's a conscious decision that I have made, that my partner has to be on the same financial intelligence as me. You know, if you meet a partner who has a sense of mediocrity, who doesn't desire some of the good things in life, I'm not saying be greedy, but there are things that you should want in life, right? So if I have a partner and I'm telling you my dreams and my aspirations, and it has to do with that business, and the feedback I get from that partner is like talking me down and saying, oh, just forget it, why don't you just do this? It's a deal breaker for me. It's a deal breaker. You have to have the same foresight. We have to be on the same dream journey, you know. And I so much agree with what he said right now. You know, I've spoken a lot again. Let's continue.
Husband become exactly what you hate. The more my dad's aspiring to become rich, the more you despise rich people. Why would he become rich? You don't like rich people. I don't know if that made sense or not. So it's kind of like,
just like what I said. If you're a Christian here, you know what the Bible said. The two shall become one. You get it? The two shall become one. So if you find a partner and you are sharing your dreams and they don't buy into it, and I am trying to become rich, my partner doesn't believe in riches, becoming what I want to become will become a struggle for me, because I have someone that I tell all these dreams and aspirations who beats all of that down in her spirit. You know, so it makes it harder for me to become what I want to be. So guys, it is very important when choosing partners, choose one that has the same dreams and aspirations, buys into it. Choose someone who is in your field, not necessarily in your field of work, but someone who just understands where you're going.